Okay. Welcome, welcome. It looks like we are live. Live on YouTube. Hello, YouTube land. How's everyone doing today? Thank you so much for joining me for this live English lesson. I think we're live. Doot, 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 doot. You mean, oh, good morning. Hey, thanks for coming by. There's a dog. There's a dog down there. Welcome. Thanks for joining me today. This is a new time. Mie, hello. Welcome. Thanks for coming. Thanks for hanging out. YouTube live on YouTube. iTube, YouTube. We all tube. It makes tube seem like a verb, doesn't it? Hello, Ochan. Tammy, hi. Tammy. Da, 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 da. Naoko is here. All the usual suspects. Excellent. Thanks so much for hanging out today. Hello, Hadi. If you've just joined for the first time, my name is Michael, and I'm an English teacher from New York. And I've been here. This is a new time today, but every Monday since the first Monday of December. December, January, February, March. We're in our fourth month. Hello, Jessica. Yes, live English lessons, all to help you speak English better. Come on, Rosie. Rosie, you want to say hello to the people? Rosie says, no, don't pick me up. Hello, Barcelona. It's very sunny today in New York. The temperature is still cold, but it's very, very sunny. And so on a sunny day, the dogs are full of energy. Oh, stop crying. So they're dying for my attention. But I'm going to give you my attention today because that's why you're here. Hello, Daniel. Thanks for stopping by. Today we're going to take a look at phrasal verbs. What? Phrasal verbs that use turn. And I hope that's going to be helpful for you. Somebody asked me, oh, Michael, why do you always teach phrasal verbs? Because I do that a lot. I post a lot of phrasal verb lessons on YouTube, on Instagram, on social. And that's because phrasal verbs are an important part of English. We use them all the time. I think I've said this before. If you need to change the schedule of a meeting or something, you would say, oh, I need to put off the meeting. You wouldn't say I need to postpone the meeting. That's too formal. Give me a second to push a button here. Stream settings. Oh, I guess I can turn the captions on. I should have done it before. All right. I will try not to talk so quickly. If I can. Okay, everything's better. Sunny in Toronto. Yeah. If you guys don't know Canadian and American geography, it's kind of like New York is here and Toronto is like up there. So we're kind of neighbors. We don't always have the same weather. And it's really, really colder in Toronto than it is in New York. But the temperature is supposed to go up to about 50 degrees today. 50 degrees. Let's see. Hey, Siri. 50 degrees Fahrenheit is what Celsius?
60 degrees Fahrenheit is equivalent to about 15.6 degrees Celsius.
That's not what I asked her. Hey Siri, what's 50 degrees Fahrenheit in Celsius?
50 degrees Fahrenheit is 10 degrees Celsius.
There's your answer. So it's going to be about 10 degrees today in New York. I hope. Boy, was it cold and windy this weekend. Oh my gosh. How's the weather by you today? Sunny in Toronto. How about in Japan? How about in Barcelona? Or I think they say Barcelona, right? Is that the correct pronunciation? Barcelona. Ochan says it's so cold. Ochan, where are you? Where are you that it's so cold? Shibiria? Hi, Stephen. Welcome. Thanks for coming. Today we are going to be talking about phrasal verbs with turn. That's coming up in a moment. 24! Nice, like spring. Spring weather. Excellent. 15 degrees, but it's a rainy day. Gotcha. It's warm during this time of year. Oh, lucky you. Almost time for those cherry blossoms there in Japan. -2. 31 in Brazil. Let's go to Brazil. Ay, ay, ay. Hello, Nishan. That's interesting. You changed your name from Stephen to Nishan. Well, welcome, everyone, welcome. And let's get the party rocking and rolling today. We're going to be talking about phrasal verbs. There we are. Phrasal verbs with turn. So speaking of turn, if you're watching this broadcast on a mobile phone, you might want to turn your mobile phone this way so that you can so that you can see the document. So turn your phone that way. That might be helpful. Mika, welcome. Thanks, Mika. Thanks for coming. Ochan, yes, it is cold in New York. It is cold in New York. It was like -4 over the weekend, but it was so windy. Windy like a typhoon. Crazy weather. Cute. What, me? Oh, you mean Rosie? Yeah. That's it. She's a sweetie. All right, let's get the party started, shall we? Turn. These are phrasal verbs and idioms, I should say. I don't know why I put just phrasal verbs. And idioms. That's why I don't upload the document first. Oh, I make so many typing mistakes. Gotcha. Hello, Kei Saito. Welcome. All right, I'm always fishing for a compliment. That's what it is. By the way, if you would like to download a copy of this document, you can get that for free. All you need to do is go to myhappyenglish.com/YouTube, myhappyenglish.com/YouTube, and you can download that for free by putting your name and email address in. And I will upload this document after this lesson. But you can also get the PDF for every live lesson that I do here on YouTube, which is every Monday. Okay, so you have access to that. All right. Turn the place upside down. I turned my desk upside down. When you turn a place upside down, it means that you search very hard to find something. Okay, and I'm gonna give you a couple of examples. I turned my desk upside down looking for my keys, but I couldn't find them. I turned my desk upside down looking for my keys, but I couldn't find them. Oh my God. Jenny turned her house upside down looking for her wallet. It turned out her wallet was in her car. Okay? So if you look very hard for something, you can say that you turn the place upside down. So how about you? Have you turned your house upside down or your desk upside down or turned your kitchen upside down looking for something? Have you? How about your example? Because remember, the best way to practice English is to write an example that's true for you. Maybe you were looking all over your room for something and you said, oh, I turned my room upside down, or I turned my house upside down looking for something. So, if it's like this and then you turn it upside down, it goes like this. So imagine you take your desk and you turn it upside down. You're looking really hard. I haven't heard of turn something upside down. You don't have to study harder, just study more with me. Jessica says, sometimes I turn my house upside down. Anybody else? Maybe you're very organized and you don't need to turn your place upside down. Is that the case? I turned my closet upside down this morning because it was warm. I needed to find spring clothes. That's a great example. Right. The other day, I turned my closet upside down looking for my knit cap. And I turned my closet upside down looking for my knit cap. And you know where that was? Rosie was playing with it. Don't ask me how she got it. Da-da-da-da. I turned my desk upside down looking for an old pick and ended up finding it. Good. COVID has turned the whole world upside down. It'll take us a long time for us to get back to normal. A good example. Sometimes I turn my house upside down looking for my keys because I don't know where the hell they are. Good examples. You should do a screenshot of these examples here, because those are all great examples. We can learn from each other. Okay? And if you can't really think of many examples, you can say, oh, Tammy said that COVID turned the world upside down. Or Jessica said sometimes she turns her house upside down. Okay? So use another person that you know, use their example. It's true in your world. That's how you practice. You take the word or take the phrase, you make a sentence that's true for you or true in your world, and then you study your sentences. That's it. Then you don't have to turn your brain upside down to find the vocabulary. All right. The next one is not so pleasant, but I'll do my best. You can say, I usually turn down the bottle of butter in the fridge so it's easy to take it from the bottle. Yeah, that's actually, you're actually turning something over. Okay, that's actually not an idiomatic use, but that works. All right, more examples coming. My son and his buddies used to turn the house upside down every time they played together. That's what kids do. All right. Next up, something turns your stomach. Something turns your stomach. If something turns your stomach, it makes you feel disgusted or uncomfortable. Right? If you eat yogurt, but the yogurt is not very fresh, or you drink milk, but the milk is not very fresh, you're going to have an upset stomach. It's going to turn your stomach. So, you can say that something turned your stomach, which means, in fact, it made your stomach feel bad. Not constipated. Just like you feel like you want to throw up. Okay? But it's not exactly, this phrase is not always used in a medical sense, okay? It could be how you feel about a situation. For example, Kim told me that the smell of onions turns her stomach. When I was traveling one time, I think it was in Vietnam or Thailand, there was a durian fruit. Now, a durian is a kind of, how can I explain a durian? It's like a football-shaped, an oval-shaped fruit with kind of spikes on it, and it has a really, really strong smell. In fact, some hotels, I remember there was, I think it was in Thailand, the hotel said, do not bring durian into the hotel. So it has a very strong smell. And so for some people, that smell turns their stomach. Okay? I found it to be a very strong smell. It didn't turn my stomach, but some people feel that way. There could be some cheese. Sometimes cheese has a very strong smell. Or, about milk, right? The milk in the refrigerator is old and you take out the milk and you go, ah! And just the smell can turn your stomach, make you feel uncomfortable. You can also say that somebody's behavior turns your stomach. For example, my coworker has very bad table manners. Watching him eat turns my stomach. It turns my stomach. I saw the guy at the restaurant eating pasta with his hands. Ooh, that turned my stomach. So, we can use that to describe when you're very offended or you feel very uncomfortable or disgusted because of somebody's behavior. Maybe you have a coworker or your boss in the office and you really don't like your boss. Or Ochan says, can we use it like X too? Yes, you can say that, oh, I saw my ex-girlfriend or boyfriend or they friend. I don't know how to say that in modern times. That person turns my stomach. Maybe your boss turns your stomach. Or you have a coworker that turns your stomach. The dictator's brutal behavior has turned my stomach. Has turned my stomach. That's right. Exactly. What else turns your stomach these days? Anybody have a boss that you say, oh, my boss, that guy turns my stomach? Thinking about tomorrow's meeting turns my stomach because it's always boring. That's right. That's right. You can imagine doing something that you're just very disgusted by or you're not into. That turns my stomach. I don't like it. I do not like that. Turned. That's right. Sorry to be picky, but I'm picky. Terrible news on TV turns my stomach these days. Thank you, Elena. Elena. I saw one person eating packed lunch on the train that turned my stomach yesterday. Yeah. I don't know. Eating on a train. I don't know about that. I think those long distance trains, I think it's okay to eat something because you're on the train for an hour or 2 hours. But my goodness, on the commuter train, wait an hour and then eat. When I hear the nasty story, that turns my stomach. Good example. Traveling by ship turns my stomach. Exactly. My last supervisor always turned my stomach when I had a problem at work. These are all good examples. You guys should do a screenshot and save these example sentences. Those are good example sentences. All right, you can learn. We learn from each other. That's a good thing. That's why I ask you to give me some examples. All right, good. That's good. By the way, if you've just joined, my name is Michael. I'm an English teacher from New York, and you can download this document after the class. Just go to myhappyenglish.com/ you need the /YouTube. myhappyenglish.com/YouTube, and you can download this document. It's a free PDF, but it's not going to be there. You have to wait until after this class, okay? After this class, and then I'll post that. All right, good job. Graphic images of the news have turned my stomach. Yeah, don't watch the news. Don't watch the news. Be aware of what's going on, but don't watch all the details. It's not good for your mental health. Okay, let's turn heads. Turn heads. Something or someone turns heads. What does that mean? It's very noticeable. Okay? If something turns heads, right? If you're looking this way and you notice something, your head turns. Okay? And so if something turns heads, then it's very, very noticeable and it stands out. We say it stands out. And I'll give you a couple of examples. I think if you wear that red miniskirt on the train, it's going to turn heads. If you wear that red miniskirt on the train, it's going to turn heads. Some guy in my neighborhood bought a Ferrari. That car really turns heads when he drives down the street. Exactly like stand out. Exactly like stand out. So, wearing a red miniskirt on the train is going to stand out. Let me just turn the sound off the phone, okay? Thank you. That's annoying. Or, driving that Ferrari really stands out. So something stands out and something turns heads is the same. All right? So that's true, and that's a good example to put in your vocabulary notebook, which you always have your notebook with you when you come to my live English class, right? Don't you? Right? In Spanish, the same idiom turns heads. Oh, interesting. That's interesting. Anything turn heads recently for you? Have you seen any advertising on the train or in the neighborhood? If you wear a red dress to the funeral, you will turn someone's head for sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. I saw an article, and they have these in Japan, and I think they have these in China too. It's like on the side of the building, there's like a 3D animation. And I heard that in Japan, in one of the buildings in Shibuya, I think it's in Shibuya, there's a cat. So if you look up, you see a cat kind of hanging out the building looking like this. Is that right, you guys who live in Japan? Have you seen that? Have you seen that video on social media? It's really cool. I saw one, there's a building in China, and on the side of the building there's a train that, it looks like the train is just coming out of the building and right into the people. It's really interesting, but it's just an animation. That certainly turns heads. Have you seen that? Have you seen anything that turned heads recently? And keep in mind, Michael turned heads when he was wearing red Christmas hat last year. Oh, you remember that, huh? Wow. Something or someone turns heads. That's how we use this. So something, right, or someone turns heads or turned heads. You can't say, oh, I turned my head that red dress. It doesn't make sense. Okay? So something turns heads or someone turns heads. Watching directly from Brazil. Thank you, Nicholas. Welcome. Welcome to today's live English lesson. Thanks for joining me a little bit later than usual. Hope that works for you guys. Anything turn heads recently? You guys in Japan, have you not seen that cat in Tokyo? I think it's in Shibuya. I think I read that. It's really, really cool. You look at the side of the building, you see a cat hanging out. His paws hanging out over the window. Very clever animation. Speaking loud, consider likely to turn heads. Yes. Esit. Yes. If you're speaking too loudly in a public place, that will turn heads. Who's that? Good example. Very, very good example. Something else? All right, so quick review. We've got someone turns the place upside down looking for something. Something turns your stomach, makes you uncomfortable. Something turns heads, it's very noticeable. All right, so that's 3. Hello from South Korea. Welcome. Thanks for joining today. Today we're talking about phrasal verbs and other idioms with turn. Pardon me. And by the way, if you'd like to get this document, you can download this document for free. All you need to do is go to myhappyenglish.com/YouTube. You put in your name and your email address, and you can get that document for free. Turn out. Turn out. That's in the Shinjuku building. Thank you, Mika. Gotcha. Have you seen that? It's really awesome. The cat in Tokyo and the train. I don't know what city in China that is, but oh man, that's cool. That's very cool. All right, turn out. Something turns out a certain way. Okay? So we use turned. So many typing mistakes. We use turn out to describe that something results or ends up in a certain way. So turn out and end up have the same meaning. Okay? So if you want to know, hey, Lynn, to dye your hair in a shiny, bright color really turns heads. That's why I don't dye my hair at all. Look, getting gray. Ay, ay, ay. I'm teaching students. Oh, excellent. Excellent. I love to meet other English teachers. Welcome. If you want to know what the result of something was or the outcome of something, you can ask somebody like this. Oh, tell me about your job interview. How did it turn out? How did it turn out? How did it turn out? Last night I made lasagna for the first time. It turned out pretty good. It turned out pretty good. Okay? So you can ask someone about the results of something, and you can ask them, hey, how did it turn out? Oh, you had a job interview. How did it turn out? Oh, you took the TOEIC exam. How did it turn out? All right. So that's Nishan, thank you. What's the difference between turn out and in the end then? The meaning is the same. Tell me about your job interview. Well, in the end, I got the job. It turned out good. It's a very similar meaning, I think. Weather in Denver turned out very beautiful yesterday. Online learning has turned out to be a creative way for everyone to learn amid the pandemic. Yes, this pandemic. Yes. Good example. How turned out your last exam? Let's do this. How did your last exam turn out? How did blah, blah, blah turn out? How did blah, blah, blah turn out? That's the pattern. How did something turn out? That's a great question to ask people. Oh, you had a party for blah, 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 a surprise party. How did it turn out? Oh, it turned out great. Okay. How did it turn out? All right, what else? What else? Turn out. What did you cook recently? How did it turn out? Did it turn out well? Last night I made lasagna for the first time. It turned out pretty good. Every time I try to make linguine carbonara, it doesn't turn out well. It turns out like pasta with scrambled eggs. Working from home has turned out to be a flexible way for people to strike their balance in their lives. Yes, most people working at home can have some balance. Most people. How did your date with my friend turn out? Oh, it turned out great. Good examples. Good examples. Who has another example with turn out? Turn out. What did you cook recently? How did it turn out? That's what I want to know. I always ask about food. Never about sports. It's a pattern with Michael. That's right. Michael doesn't know about sports. No other example? All right, that's good. That's okay. Maybe they'll come in the future. Okay. Turn over a new leaf. Because she put cosmetic a lot, she turned out pretty. All right. I'm naturally pretty, so I don't wear cosmetics. Just joking. No, I'm not joking. I don't wear cosmetics. I did in my rock and roll days, way back in those old days, but now I don't. All right. Someone turns over a new leaf. Someone turns over a new leaf. A leaf, you know, is part of a tree, right? In the fall, the leaves turn brown and they fall to the ground. So that's a leaf. So turn over a new leaf means that the person changes their behavior in a positive way. How do you find an alien on Earth turn out? Right next door. Right next door. How did your clubhouse lesson turn out? Those are good examples. How did finding an alien on Earth turn out? Maybe that works better. Very easy. Just go out of my house and turn left. You'll see him. All right. So, how did your proposal turn out? Well, propose is the verb. Proposal is the noun. Wow. I'd be afraid to ask somebody, "Oh, you were going to propose? How did it work out?" What if she says no? Or he says no? Or they says no? They say no. Trying to learn modern language. Came across your channel, wonder if, and your channel turned out to be very useful. Oh, good, thanks. I turned everything on my phone. It was on silent mode. Howdy. Oh, good example. All right. Excellent. Excellent, excellent. Thank you. So, turn over a new leaf. If somebody has a bad habit, okay, or their behavior is not very good, and then they change their behavior, maybe they stop their bad habit, you can say, oh, Michael turned over a new leaf and stopped drinking so much coffee. Not. Here's some examples. I saw Jack for the first time in a long time. He looks great. He said he quit eating junk food and he stopped drinking. Too many typos. He totally turned over a new leaf. Okay? He turned over a new leaf. He quit eating junk food. He stopped drinking. He turned over a new leaf. You can't continue living in your parents' basement. You need to turn over a new leaf, get a job, and start supporting yourself, we said to our friend who is 45 years old. Just an example. Okay? So you can see here, I got to learn how to type. If you have some bad behavior, or someone has bad behavior and they improve themselves, they stop that behavior, we say they turn over a new leaf. Tom turned over a new leaf and he actually stopped drinking cold turkey. Good example. Jeremy turned out to be a polite young man. He still takes time to write thank you notes every time he gets presents from any good friends. He turned out to be a... we often use that when we talk about, like, kids grow up, right? Kids grow up and, you know, now that kid in your neighborhood or your cousin used to be a little kid and now they grew up and they got a job. Wow, he turned out to be a nice young man, or she turned out to be a nice young woman, or they turned out to be a nice young person. We say that. He went cold turkey and turned over a new leaf. Good. I turned over a new leaf because I started to watch your videos learning English. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, that's right. That's right. I know that I've been posting a lot of short videos here on YouTube, but long videos are coming. A couple of years ago, before I turned over a new leaf with my English, try to speak and read more. Good. That's right. If you're lazy, which I don't think anybody here is lazy, but if you happen to be lazy about something and you decide, you know what, I'm going to stop being lazy, I'm going to exercise more, I'm going to turn over a new leaf. I used to be far away English. However, I am obsessed with it. Ooh, obsessed. You've turned over a new leaf. Good. I like that word. I'm obsessed with English. I like that. That's a good way to think about it. Because if you're obsessed with something, like you can't stop doing that, right? I'm obsessed with learning English. When he was little, he had trouble writing as he was low tone. But he turned over a new leaf. Yeah, I'm obsessed. Anybody else here obsessed with English? Are you obsessed with something? By the way, I wanted to mention this phrase. For the first time in a long time. For the first time in a long time. That's a great phrase to remember when you want to talk about something that it's been a while. And the good thing, or the nice thing about the phrase for the first time in a long time, is you can use that. You put any sentence in front of that, and you can use that. I saw Jack for the first time in a long time. Yesterday, I ate sushi for the first time in a long time. Now I'm eating sushi for the first time in a long time. Tomorrow, I'm going to eat sushi for the first time in a long time. So you can put any sentence with for the first time in a long time to mean hisashiburi, to mean I did this a long time ago and now I'm doing it now. In ages, right. I saw Jack for the first time in ages, for the first time in a long time. Because she has started exercising. She turned over a new leaf. She must be feeling well. Good. I watch different YouTube channels to keep learning English. Good. I turned over a new leaf when I met Lorenzo many years ago. If you're obsessed doing something often. All right, good. All good examples. You got to screenshot these examples and write them in your notebook. We can learn from each other. Turn over a new leaf. I should turn over a new leaf and stop drinking so much coffee. I don't think that's going to happen as I pour myself another cup. All right. Have you turned over a new leaf recently? Watching many people injured in a recent conflict turns my stomach. Yep, that turns my stomach too. That's for sure. All right. Turn up the heat on someone. Turn up the heat on someone. When you turn up the heat on someone, you pressure them into doing something. Okay? So when you pressure somebody or somebody gives you pressure, you say, oh, they turn the heat up on me. Let me give you some examples. Wow, what happened there? Sorry. In the office, sales have been bad, so the boss has been turning up the heat on us. It means the boss is putting pressure on us to sell more. The boss has been turning up the heat on us. If you have kids, you can use this in the coming months. Because the weather is getting nicer, Jane's kids have been getting lazy about doing their homework. So she has no choice but to turn up the heat on them. She's going to turn up the heat on her kids because they're getting lazy about doing their homework. I'm going to turn up the heat on Tom to catch Jerry. I like that. I'm going to watch Chinese football team on a game for the first time in a long time. For the first time in a long time. Good examples. In your workplace, has your boss turned up the heat on anyone? Has your boss turned up the heat on you? Has anyone turned up the heat on you? Have you turned up the heat on someone? How about an example there? I'm going to turn up the heat on my coworker to stop with so many typing mistakes. Tiger moms like to turn up the heat on their kids. Sorry, turn up the heat on someone. Turn up the heat on their kids, and they don't like their kids to relax after school. That's right. Tiger moms. We also call those helicopter parents. They turn up the heat on their kids. No relaxing after school. Study, 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 study. That's a good example. Do you guys say that in your language? Tiger moms? Tiger moms? My boss has turned up the heat on me because foreigners still can't come to Japan. Mie's sentence, she works in a school that teaches Japanese language, and in Japan, and so because of COVID, I'm going to guess that they're having a hard time to recruit students because students can't come to the country. I try not to turn up the heat on my assistant, therefore she won't quit the job too quickly. That's right. Don't turn up the heat on your coworkers or your assistants. I think we might need someone in our life to turn up the heat to get things done. That's true. That's true. Sometimes putting a little pressure on someone, sometimes turning up the heat on someone can have a positive effect. So it's not always a bad thing. Sometimes that might be necessary. But like as Lynn said, don't turn up the heat on your coworkers because they might quit. When I had to find a new fridge, I was turned up the heat. I turned up the heat to find a new fridge? You mean somebody put pressure on you to find a new fridge? Oh my God. Ay, ay, ay. Turn up the heat on someone. Did you turn up the heat on your students? I'm not that strict because I teach adults. And so I think adults are responsible enough. And when, I always ask my students to do homework. Sometimes they don't have time. Sometimes they're busy because they're adults. They have adult lives. And so as an adult, I don't turn up the heat on my students. If I was teaching kids, I would. Before I was an English teacher, I was a music teacher, and I spent 14 years teaching music. And most of my students, I taught guitar. I gave private guitar lessons, one-to-one guitar lessons, and then eventually I was teaching other instruments too, but mostly guitar. And most of my students were kids, and I always turned up the heat on them because many of them were lazy about practicing. So I had to turn up the heat on my teenage guitar students. But for my English learner students, no, because I only teach adults, and I know people are busy, so I get busy too sometimes. So I haven't opened my Japanese textbook in about a week and a half. It's just been too busy, so I know how that goes. I was going to say something too, and I forgot. What was I going to say? I forgot. Okay. Window dressing sometimes turn heads. That's right. All right, turn up the heat. I will not turn up the heat. It's hard to find the right fridge that I got turned up the heat. It's better to say it was so hard to find the right fridge that someone turned up the heat on me. This is the pattern. Someone turns up the heat on someone. That's the pattern. Okay? Someone or something turns up the heat on a person. You got to use that pattern. Someone turned up the heat on me because it was hard to find the right fridge. Something like that. So many applications that are too complicated but not necessary on my phone make me buy a new one. Too complicated but not necessary. Yeah, I don't know. Too complicated but not necessary. I think I would say it that way, Leon. So no problem there. All right, so moving along. By the way, if you've just joined, welcome. My name is Michael. I'm an English teacher here in New York. And if you would like to get a copy of this document, you can download this. It's a free download. Go to myhappyenglish.com/YouTube. And you can download that for free. I will upload this document after we finish this class, okay? So you can get it then. Talking about politics can turn up the heat on good friends. Yes. Yes. I have friends with political opinions on both sides of the fence. And so their conversations about politics are tough. Do you have a live every day? Not every day. Once a week on YouTube, once a week on Clubhouse, and 4 days a week on Hello Talk. So if you have the Hello Talk app, please join me there. And I do that there, but not every day. Not every day. All right. Turn something in. Turn something in. When you turn something in, you submit or give something officially. Okay? So the teacher might say, hey, please submit your homework, or please submit these documents. Very formal words, submit. That's why we use turn in. Let me give you some examples. The professor said that we will lose 10% of our grade if we turn in our homework late. That happens in college a lot. You turn in your paper late, every day you lose 5%. I turned in my loan application to the bank. Okay, I submitted my loan application. I hope I can get that approved. All right, so turn in means to submit something somewhere. What have you turned in recently? Do you always turn in your homework? What do you turn in? How to join? Nishan, how to join what? That's my question to you. Turn in, and yeah, Mia, turn in and hand in is the same. Right? You turn in your homework, you hand in your homework, you submit your homework. Turn in, turn in, turn in, hand in. Please hand in your homework. Please turn in your homework. Please hand in your report. Please turn in your report. When you use turn in, do you need to submit by hand physically? I'm thinking about that, Ochan. That's a good question. I turned in my homework. I handed in my homework. You know, these days people study electronically, right, by Zoom. And so even though you're not physically handing your homework to the teacher, right? You don't just go, here, teacher, here's my homework. It's not physically submitting by hand. I think we still use hand in or turn in. Technology changes, but sometimes the vocabulary doesn't change. So please turn in your homework. Please hand in your homework. Please hand in your expense report. I think we still say that even though we do that electronically. Hostess turns up the heat on Tom to turn in Jerry at the first time. Leon, you like Tom and Jerry, huh? Last month I turned in my application to open a bank account so I could activate my other old account online. Right, you turn in an application. I don't know if the top. I mean, using this word turn in. Okay. So Nauko, what do you is hand in more familiar? Hand in, turn in, submit, give. Right? All those words have the same meaning. Please submit your homework to the teacher. Please give your homework to the teacher. Please hand in your homework to the teacher. Please turn in your homework to the teacher. Tom and Jerry is classic. It's very classic. Yeah. Yeah. Still funny. Still entertaining. Sometimes, before pandemic, I used to fly to places in airplanes. Don't do that now. But I remember they always have a Tom and Jerry on the. If you're on a plane and you're watching the TV, and you go to the kids area, there's usually a Tom and Jerry cartoon. We can use it both ways on the internet by hand. Yeah. On a website, when you have a website, an electronic document, and you have to put in your name and your email address or something, the button says submit, right? And that's a very formal word. But if I was teaching a Zoom class, for example, and I needed the students to give me their homework, I would say, please hand in your homework tomorrow. And they could do it electronically. It doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be done physically. So, applicants are required to turn in all required documents for further processing. Very formal sentence. But that's a good example. Thank you, Asit. Applicants are required to turn in all required documents for further processing. That's right. Turn in all the required documents. All right, so my clock is telling me we're just about out of time. My God, we'll have to continue this next time because there's more. So, if you would like to get a copy of this document here, then all you need to do is go to myhappyenglish.com/YouTube, put in your name and your email address, and you can download that. It's a free download, and I will upload it so you can download it in a few minutes. All right, so that, my friends, brings us to the end of today's English lesson. How to join you in other classes. Come here, Nishan, you can come here every Monday at this time. Tomorrow on Clubhouse. You can look for me on social media. I am Happy English NY. At Happy English NY. You can always find me there on social media, and that's how you can join. So, thank you very much for that. All right, thanks for hanging out today. I appreciate that. You guys have a wonderful day, a wonderful evening. Thank you for joining me for another live English lesson. I'll be back here on YouTube next week at this same time. Tomorrow on Clubhouse, Happy English NY. On Clubhouse, we're going to talk about the Diary of a Wimpy Kid. So please join me for that. Also, I'll be on Hello Talk. You have to download the Hello Talk app. It's free. You can find me there. Also, Happy English NY. Thank you all very much for joining me for this English lesson today. I appreciate that. You guys have a wonderful day, a wonderful evening, whatever time it is where you are. And keep in mind, learning another language is not always easy, but it's not impossible. And I'm here to help you on your journey. Thank you so much for joining me today. See you next time.